What's up, friends? Welcome to the Friendly Food Forest channel. We've been very busy planting. Got stuff under our peach tree, around our peach tree, and everywhere around the Friendly Food Forest. Let's take a little tour. Wow, we've been very busy putting in the gardens of the Friendly Food Forest. Got our annuals mixed in underneath and around our perennials. The mom garden, the little Mother's Day present, definitely coming together. Got our cucumbers up front in the mom garden, little babies, and quite a bit bigger next door. Getting going good this year, best we've ever done on cucumbers. Definitely added a lot of compost in this year. Tried to remove as much of the wood chips from these annual areas. I think that slowed us down a little bit in the past, but you can see cucumbers, peppers, some real healthy marigolds. Putting off some flowers here, about to look real nice in the mom garden. Jalapenos with the sweet green pepper in the middle. And right out back we got broccoli. And a couple more down the line. So just this little area. This is about 10 by 10 at the most. Should put off quite a bit of food and lots of seeds. Hopefully get our little marigold business going. Right next door, we got Tippy the cat. That was not planned. Tippy always seems to find her way into the videos here, but we're more than welcome to have her come along. So some real healthy tomato plants going. Got them raised up. Combination of that compost. And we try to get the wood chips off as much as possible. Kind of mix that in. Dug the clay out just a little bit, mixed it in with the compost to raise them up. And that let the water escape the pond when it was overflowing just recently. You might have seen that in our last video. Right next to the healthy tomato plants. Got our strawberry area cleaned out pretty decent. We're going to wood chip around the edge here, use some of that cardboard and newspaper, and put a light layer of wood chips for our walkways. Gave us a nice batch of strawberries on the first run, and these are everbearing, the Tri-Stars, and they should put off another flush later in the year. We'll try to keep them cleaned up, get the wood chips around the edge. See if I can find our one, there it is, our one healthy peach. So we've been spraying our fruit with BT, and it seems to be helping a little bit. We definitely lost a few of the healthy ones off this peach tree, but we've been spraying our grapes down the line, our tomatoes, anything that can be affected by little caterpillar type fruit. Lots of grapes coming in. These are the Concords, so they'll get nice and purple by the time they're done. But definitely looking quite thick over here with the grapes. And then kind of go all down the fence line in that same manner. This pond was just filled up right to the brim and actually overflowing. You can see it's a little frog pond. We don't really keep the water moving too much unless Mother Nature does it for us. And that was actually flowing right over this way through the low spots. So that's some of the lessons we learned. We really need to give the water somewhere to go, and we need to lighten that clay up around here. We tried to do a bit of a no dig, and we're not necessarily rototilling, but we're definitely mixing with the shovel a tad bit more, and using, I don't know, maybe about 50% compost. We went pretty aggressive with the compost. It's fertilizer that came from organic cows, organic fertilizer. Just kind of plants all over the place. We just plugged these cucumbers in, some of the last things we planted, so they're just getting going. But these tomatoes were actually some of the first things we planted. And these marigolds were from seed. So you can see our tomatoes over in this area, flanked by the marigolds all the way around. And we went ahead and mixed in some right in the middle too. We're going to try to get as many marigold seeds as we can this year. Something I talked about previously, but see if we can bring a little bit of entrepreneurship into the Friendly Food Forest. I can't help it, but for the most part it's just our little nature reserve where we like to get away. I've let some stuff go wild, and it's been kind of nice. Instead of just looking at grass everywhere, in some spots I don't mind if it gets a little wild. Eventually we'll probably have it all tamed and Be some real nice garden space everywhere you look, kind of like this. But I kind of like seeing pollinators and bugs and beneficials in here. The marigolds certainly bring in a lot of beneficials. Bring in the ladybugs and the predatory wasps, so they're a real good one to have around. The nectarine got hit real hard by peach leaf curl, so we'll just be happy to see that and come back with some healthy leaves. Maybe we can get a tame on that with some copper spray. We're going to be a little more aggressive next year. We got a little bit lazy last winter, only sprayed about 2 times. We should be spraying at least 3 times a winter. So the Stanley plum had a lot of plums on it. Looks like it's been mainly cleaned off by the deer and by the pest, a little bit of pest. We're going to be more aggressive with that BT and also do more research on keeping the pest off our fruit trees. But it's starting to get interesting for the first time ever. We're starting to get a little bit of fruit off these peach trees and off this plum, off this apple right next door. So it ought to be interesting. We're now starting to go into that next phase of how can we get these holes out. Kind of take our learning lessons as they come. There's that black gold right back there, keeping it covered up, keep them nutrients in the rain. But that has just been wonderful stuff for the gardens around here. Apples coming in real thick on that Gala apple. Just gonna have to see how many of them we actually get to keep. Definitely a little bit of bug damage in the friendly food forest. And like always, Tippy's always working her way into the shot. Let's see what she's up to. Hey, let's checking out Tippy over here. I found a little surprise. Looks like we do have some of our original raspberry plantings coming back. There should have been some going crazy in this corner by now. I think we got a little bit of cane blight on our raspberries. We've had a tough time with the deer eating them down and different blights. So we just keep planting away, trying to learn our lessons as we go. And like I said, that black gold compost was definitely one of the big lessons. We definitely had to help all these wood chips out. I think this is an excellent way to keep weeds down, but with that said, it can be a way to kind of keep the plants you do want to grow down a little bit too. So pulled back some of them wood chips this year. Added a lot more of the compost in, the organic compost. And things just seem a lot happier. This is some little bit newer plantings over here. The garlic will be coming out real soon. So we got little garlic bunches right here. We will eat some of it, but we're definitely going to take these bunches and dry them a bit and spread them out and plant a whole lot more garlic for next year. The chives have finished up now. Lots of seeds on the chives. The eggplants right next door to the garlic, that row we were just looking at. Should be a cool purple color there. Some cantaloupe next door. That might be cucumber. Actually, I might have to slide back over this way past our lettuce that came back on its own. Our hidden tomatoes next to the chives that are drying up around the apple tree. Watch where we're walking. Peppers are hiding over here to find the cantaloupe. That's where it is. I knew it was right over this way. Just have to be careful where you're walking around here, because a lot of things tend to be edible. So we got our cantaloupe over here with our green peppers. These onions that I missed last year got a mind of their own. So the friendly food forest really starting to come to life. Let's go out back, check out what else we've been up to. So as we leave zone 2 of the friendly food forest and head out back, what I like to think of as zone 3, a little bit farther of a hike, but not too far, right up in this first area of the friendly food forest. We're gonna downsize next year. So there's a lot of grass around here. a little bit too much to tame, but we're going to downsize a bit and be a little bit more productive and have a tad bit better look on what we're really going for. But this shows you what we can do in the areas where we do put a proper amount of work in, kind of work the system. Got the wood chips now for pathways more than anything. The organic compost mixed in, supporting that watermelon up front, as well as the zucchini out back. So that's kind of the system we want to do. Wood chips for the walkways. As they break down eventually, we can use them as like a ready-made compost right next door, maybe flip them back into the rows. But for right now, I think we're getting a better use out of our soil, not tying up the nitrogen as much, and kind of using this method. So let's go down the line just a bit. See some of our wild area that we didn't quite get a handle on, and then do what's been a pretty productive garden so far. You can see we've kind of ate down some of that lettuce in the front, so it's kind of got taken over by the weeds. Though where we kind of let them go out back, it's definitely holding off the weeds a little bit better. 3 rows of carrots down in there. We've been munching on some of them a little bit. Honestly, these weeds have kind of jumped on me. I didn't realize how quick they're coming in. Definitely got to keep an eye on things. But I'm sure we're going to have some real nice production out of them carrots. We're going to keep munching on that lettuce like we have been. And right next door, onions galore. So the onions are coming in real good over here. Got some, we're trying to hide the broccoli from the pest, so they don't like the smell of them onions, kind of mask things a little bit. And right next door to there, we got a couple fruit trees holding out. So that one's looking okay. And got a couple down the line. The onions been coming in real good and strong over here. Got them raised up a little bit better, a little bit higher spot to start as well. Again, trying to hide that broccoli in there. We planted it a little bit late, which was done on purpose, because if you go real early in the spring, that temperature change is just kind of too much on it. It tends to send it off the seed pretty quick, a little quicker than you'd like, and you don't end up getting your big broccoli out of it. So we're just going to do broccoli as a fall crop because of our real short Michigan springs that tend to jump into summer almost overnight. So we got our red onions right next door. Some of them are really bulbing up, getting quite big for a red onion, and you can see some of them are actually ready to harvest right now. Right down the line, we've actually done a little bit of that, so I can show you an example of a few that we've harvested. Just look at them mammoth onions. See if I can put my hand next to that for a little reference. It's hard to pick up the size sometimes. So maybe 3 fingers wide on that one. Here's a bigger one. Definitely some giants. So our yellow onions got really big, and we definitely went quantity on the onions this year. This was kind of a low spot to start us off. I was probably getting a little tired by the time I got down here, so there might have been a little bit less compost. And I think with the flood and being a little bit lower spot, a couple things combined, you can see a little bit more wood chips mixed in with these. These same white onions is right down the line are a lot smaller. Although there is some good ones in there, so we're still quite happy with them. These are some of them that we just took out. And why these ones are finishing up, we kind of did that on purpose. Where anywhere where we could clear an area looked like they were starting to be finished up, we plugged in a watermelon. We plugged in here a tomato plant. Another one right next door. This actually I just put in, so I watered that in, so that's still wet. And a couple out back. Just did that with the watermelons here as well. Okay, that's that same tree we're just looking at. I got to keep jumping in every once in a while to a new shot because these mosquitoes are trying to run me out of the friendly food forest. They are not being so friendly with me. Again, we've been keeping a light spray of BT on these. Looks like the deer came in and tried a few of my tomatoes. And deer generally don't like the taste of tomatoes. Not to say they won't hit the tops, which can be pretty harmful. And they will eat them down, but if anything's, I'm not going to say safe because the deer are our #1 predator. Now I'm walking back behind the onions here that we just checked out. If anything's safe, from what I've learned, you got onions for sure, potatoes seem pretty good, and tomatoes. Them seem to be the best things that the deer aren't real big on. Sometimes you can kind of hide the carrots from them, but they will munch on the tops, and they dug up a whole row of carrots I was trying to let go a little bit later last year. So, but if anything's safe, it's going to be our onions, it's going to be our tomatoes, and our potatoes. Let's go down and look at potatoes, speaking of potatoes. So we got a couple batches of blueberries coming in. We'll take what we can get. Super excited. Been spraying a little bit of BT on them. And I think it was this one down here. Got another little group coming in. So we'll see how many of them we can get. And right behind them, got the peas. Did not like the heat in the 90s. Yeah, the peas will go down on you in that kind of heat. Again, the weeds been fighting, but a lot of them, what might appear to be weeds, are radish that went to seed. We never end up eating all our radish, but it just grows so fast and so quick. And we'll let them seeds drop and have more and more radish. But definitely down here, lots of carrots came in this area and all down the line. So we will be digging that up sooner than later and checking how many carrots we got. And then right next to that, we got our potatoes. They've been being attacked by the Colorado potato beetle. So we're out working sometimes, picking them off by hand, spraying our BT, trying to keep them down the best we can. So I got our potatoes right next door. Pokeweed. Oh my goodness. That might be why I was itchy a couple times after gardening. I had to figure that out. So we're going to be getting that out of there. Well, that pokeweed. Some people say it's got different benefits, but I know it's not fun to rub on and garden around. So we're going to get that out of there. These are potatoes that are the first ones out. There's a look at an adult Colorado potato beetle. We better get on it. I know they're on it. And the mosquitoes want to be on me. We got our first out potatoes. You can see they're starting to dry up, starting to get that look. So this first line will be coming out pretty soon. Awfully excited. We'll get to munch on some potatoes real early. And then right next door was medium season. So these will be next. A little bit more Colorado potato beetle than I expected to see out here. Because we have been picking them off and we have been spraying the BT. But I didn't know what they were at first this year. So I just kind of looked at them and talked about how interesting they were. And before I knew it, I had an infestation. So we took care of that. But we've been playing catch up a little bit. So I did a video, so hopefully you guys don't have to play catch up as much before. So if you want to learn a little bit about that, it's pretty basic. You generally just pick them off by hand and spray that BT if you want to kill them in larvae stage. But if you don't, they tend to make themselves pretty comfortable on your potatoes. But hey, it looks like we're still going to be pulling lots of potatoes out of the friendly food forest, even with a little bit of pest damage. So we're pretty happy. Down the line there, besides my ugly hose that I should have cleaned up, I did forget to tell you, we do also have some tomatoes every 4 feet or so. And then we're going to run up that fence there and kind of give it something to hold on to. So, real happy with everything so far. Definitely got a little more work to do. We're trying to maintain, keep the pests off. We got everything generally planted out at this point. So, pretty happy with the friendly food forest. Hope everybody's growing lots of food. Kind of live that healthy life. Got that security right in the backyard. Getting your food forest planted. Lots of perennials, lots of annuals. Learning your lessons as you go. Follow along, like, subscribe, and share this with somebody you think it could help. Cheers.